Welcome to Back Garage Builds. Today, right beside me, my latest Facebook Marketplace treasure, a 1989 Jeep Wrangler YJ. This is a base model, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, 5-speed manual transmission, no thrills, manual steering, radio delete, soft top only, half doors, nothing special, just a base model Jeep. I was lucky enough to find this from the original family. It had spent most of its life in Arizona. It is entirely rust-free. There are many signs that say this has been used for what it was intended for, and there are also many signs that say it's been relatively well cared for. As we walk around the Jeep, I'll show it to you, let you see what we're getting into. This will be a multi-series project here on the channel. Initially, we'll do a walk around. I'll get you up to speed on this Jeep. It has several issues with it at the moment. I have trailered it to my place here, and it will be getting trailered to another location where we'll be doing the work. It does run, it does drive, however, it's got some significant issues. It's leaking coolant out of somewhere along the intake manifold. The previous seller told me it may be a sensor. I have done little to no investigation on that. It has a leak in the radiator. I'll be putting in a new larger radiator, mainly because in the future we're going to be doing an engine swap on this. This will be getting a Ford 302 V8 with an automatic overdrive transmission and a Borg-Warner 1356 transfer case. Eventually we will be swapping in a Ford 8.8-inch rear end, a 31 spline with limited slip out of a Ford Explorer. The front axle is a Dana 35. It will remain that Dana 35 housing. However, we're going to take out the center axle disconnect, and we're going to take out the two-piece passenger side axle shaft. I'll be installing chrome moly axle shafts and outer wheel bearing seals on it, or excuse me, outer axle seals. And we'll be getting that a little bit beefed up from what it is. I don't intend to go too crazy on this Jeep. You can work on these things forever and still not have the best one on the planet, but we're going to make this a very capable machine. I have a lot of things I want to do with this Jeep in the future. Every step of the way I'll be documenting it on the page here, and eventually we're going to put train wheels on this, and we will ride it on some abandoned railroad tracks out in the Utah area. Having a look under the hood, you'll see everything is in fairly stock configuration. It is fairly well preserved for a vehicle of its age. We're looking at 37 years old on this. Just a stock 4-cylinder. We have some issues going on down here. Our alternator belt is loose to say the least. We got oil pouring out of every crack and crevice. It has bad seals underneath. It does run. It leaks brake fluid. We're going to have to go through the master cylinder and the brake booster. I've noticed some issues up there when I have had it running. The steering wheel is kind of a suggestion wheel at the moment. It has about 1/8 of a wheel of slop, or 1/8 of a turn of slop in it. And what I've noticed is down here along the front, there's a universal joint right up here, and it does a lot of moving, and it doesn't put any input into the steering box. So being this has manual steering in it, I did find a takeoff set from a Jeep place on the web. I will be adding power steering into this and replacing the intermediate shaft. It does use a Borg-Warner steering column, which would be the same out of most S10 pickup trucks. They're very close to S10. That's the closest match to the Jeep column. It's not exactly the same, but they do interchange with a little bit of work. Also, 80s G-body cars are very similar to this as well. It's got an AX5 transmission in it. Remarkably, 5th gear still works in this one. It doesn't shift too well through the gears. This Jeep has a 3-inch body lift in it, and you can tell by this filler panel here. I would really like to get that lift out, and I think eventually we'll be doing that. But for right now, I think the primary function is to get this Jeep running and driving in its current configuration. And we will have a little bit of fun with it before we take it totally apart and we start doing the mechanical work to it. Now, I do have a significant amount of parts here in this cardboard box. I got some nuts and bolts, and you can see all 4 shocks. But the real fun is going to start here in these boxes. I have a winch bumper. I have a new rear bumper for it that has a trailer hitch built into it. It also has a spare tire carrier. We're going to get the spare tire off of the tailgate, get some of the strain off the body. I'm not going to go too much larger than what you see here for tires. These are 29-inch tall tires. They're 10.5 inches wide. They're brand new. I've had this Jeep for a few months now. I bought it over the winter, and the old tires weren't holding air, and they were very badly weather checked. So I went ahead, I bought new rubber for it, installed the tires. I also put a matching spare tire on. I found somebody selling these American Racing Wheel. I don't recall the series that these are, but I found a matching spare wheel. The wheels are older. They've got to be early 2000s. They're fine. They look nice. They're what's going to stay on here throughout the build. I do have a soft top that came with this Jeep. I also purchased recently a hard top for the Jeep. I just happened to be perusing Facebook Marketplace, found a really good deal on a nice top, decided I'd pick it up. I really like the look of the Jeep without a top. It's a fair weather vehicle. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to install one or not. I only have the half doors for it. And like I say, it's a pretty nice Jeep. It's not real sun damaged. It does have signs. If we look here at the side of the steering column, you'll see that key has been swinging to and fro quite a bit, which indicates it's gone on a lot of rough rides to wear that much paint off of the steering column. This was a radio delete Jeep, and someone along the way put this aftermarket stereo in it. I don't have the face to it. I'm actually going to be pulling that radio out, and I'm going to be putting a CB radio in there. Some of the places I intend to take it out west require you have a CB radio for communications due to the lack of cell service in the area. The seats, they're not very good. The seat covers are badly sun damaged. They're worn from people sliding in and out of them. Somebody before me have put these seat covers on. The driver's seat, it's sitting crooked. It's bent. Somebody only put it in with 1 or 2 bolts. The previous owner before me. It does have new carpet in here. It is the cheapest carpet you can find. It looks pretty nice. The previous owner gave me the original carpet. I think what we might do is lay that out on the driveway, soap it down, and wash it with a power washer and see if we can't get it to come around. It's I believe they call this interior spice. I might be wrong on that. This seems to be a little lighter than spice. It's kind of a cream white sandstone color. It is a little bit faded, so I believe it's lighter than it's intended to be. But the carpet matches the dashboard and the door cards, and I do like it. The quality of the carpet's very nice. It is a little dirty, but I think it'll come around with some cleaning, and it'll be much better than this newer, less expensive carpet. I will eventually replace the seats. The seats don't adjust at all. They're just in this position all the time. The bases that they're on allow them to fold forward so that passengers in the back seat can get out. What I intend to do here is take the back seat out and put in a cargo system so I have a place to keep all my off-roading equipment. If I'm going to be going into some uncharted territory, I'll need extra fuel, I'll need ropes and shackles and probably a snatch block and a few other things. Jacks of some nature, and tools, of course. So we'll probably say goodbye to the rear seat. I'm not going to physically discard it, but I will take it out of here, and it won't come on an adventure with me. If we look underneath, the bottom of this thing is incredibly clean. Someone has taken the time to refresh the paint and put a lot of satin black with a brush onto the frame and the under parts of the body. But in all reality, this is a southern vehicle. It has not seen any weather. A lot of times with a lift this tall on the body, it'll start to pull the bolts out around the body tub. I don't see any indication that we have any trouble with our body lift, although I would love to get it out of here. It makes the proportions wrong. The shifter and the four-wheel drive selector are affected by it. It's just not designed to have that distance between the tub and the frame. And what I may do is take it out. It looks like it's actually stacked material here. Like you could take half of this away. And I might look into doing that. If I don't take it all the way out, I might take it down by about half. And then we'll make a new fill panel on the back where the bumper is. That filler might be going away with the new rear bumper I have that has the tire carrier on it. I am not sure yet what we're going to be getting into. The leaf springs are looking a little tired, although I don't initially see any of them broken. We may end up replacing these. I don't really want to give it too much of a suspension lift. I want to keep it relatively stock to maintain my driveline angles. But once we really get into the meat of this project and we start doing the engine and transmission and transfer case swaps, we'll see how everything lines up. We'll be doing the geometry correct. We're going to get the proper U-joint angles. We'll be going to, in the rear, the dual cardan CV joints on both ends of the drive shaft. We'll be doing a rear slip yoke delete, and we'll be going to a spline shaft in the drive shaft there. Overall, this Jeep is in fairly nice condition, and I don't want to make this something that's just going to be a monster for the trails. I want to be able to have fun with it on road. I want to be able to have fun with it off road. I want to know that I'm going to be able to get everywhere that I want to go with this. But it's a cute little Jeep, and you always see these things so modified and so ridiculously overdone. I just want to keep this somewhere in the middle where I know we're not going to be breaking axle shafts, and I know we're going to have a little more pep than the 4-cylinder. I don't want it to be so overdone I can't enjoy it on a daily basis, take it out for ice cream, you know, take it to a local car show. We're going to be doing a number of tasteful upgrades on this. It won't be the most aggressive Jeep on the streets, but it isn't going to be the near stock vehicle that you see what it is now. We're going to replace some of the known issues. We'll be doing upgrades to it for reliability's sake and for performance sake. There are signs that this thing has had some significant damage in its lifetime. If we look up here on the corner, we'll see that the front has been pushed in quite significantly. There's a buckle in the plastic from it being pushed back. Up underneath, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it or not, there's a fender brace. There's a fender brace that runs right in here, and it is buckled. And then along the way, we have a nice buckle right here in the rocker panel. And that's a result of this front passenger side corner pushing into something, and I can't figure out what it is. It was soft enough, it didn't damage the paint. It didn't severely buckle anything, but it put enough pressure on it that it affected it in a few places. And if we look a little closer yet again, we'll notice that the windshield frame is off of another vehicle. There is some blue paint here under the red paint, and we can see paint on the window gasket here. That indicates they didn't take the gasket or the glass out when they painted that to match. Someone previous to me went around this with a buffer and took off the oxidation, and the paint is original that I can tell on all of the other components aside from the windshield frame. But when they buffed it, they did go through in a lot of the thin spots, and we can see primer and bare metal in a number of places. And there's buffing compound that they didn't get out on a lot of this. So the person before me, they dolled it up. They tried to make it look a little nicer than it was. And, you know, they preserved it. It definitely caught my interest when I saw this for sale. I was looking at several of them on Marketplace, most of them for half of what I paid for this, and I still didn't give all that much money for this Jeep. I did end up paying $5,000 for this, which in my neck of the woods is very median. If it's a YJ or a very early TJ, they go for about $10,000 for an exceptionally nice unit. And when they're pretty well rusty and they've had their time on earth, people still can squeak about $2,500 to $3,000 out of them. I looked at a number of those $3,000 price range Jeeps. I just determined it was a lot more than I wanted to get into I initially bought this for the sole purpose of taking it out west and riding on abandoned rails with it. And I started to look at these and see what I was really getting into. The reason I bought the Jeep YJ was it's the last series of Jeep to use the 56.5-inch track width, which is also American rail gauge. My ultimate goal with this project is to take it out west and ride abandoned rail lines with it. And now I won't exactly be taking off the rubber tires and putting train wheels on the actual axles. It'll be more like a high rail kit. I'm going to build an apparatus that will go on the front and back. It will engage the frame in a manner similar to a receiver hitch. It'll have a pocket on each frame rail on all four corners, and then we'll be able to use crank handles to lower down actual conical rail wheels to contact and keep us on the rails. And that will be further along in the series here. My initial goal right now is to get the Jeep up and running in its current configuration, enjoy it throughout the summer, see what it's capable of in its stock form, and then we will go into the mechanical upgrades of it and breathe some new life into this. Thanks for joining me here today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit your notification bell so you can get updates as the project progresses. Thanks for watching.